You and the thing about you and Cowboy is, I think you guys have a similar mantra. You're not all about talking trash and promoting fights in that way. You guys are just about, you're all about it. You're all about getting in there, doing it. I think there's probably going to be a pretty deep mutual respect between the two of you. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I mean, I would hope so. I definitely have a tremendous amount of respect for him and the body of work he's put together throughout his career. He's a guy that I've looked up to for a very long time. I can guarantee you, I've been thinking about fighting him way more than for a longer period of time than he's been thinking about fighting me. So I've watched him in the WEC, and I've, in my head imagined a million ways the fight's gone, as I have done with everybody since I got into the sport. But the fighting speaks for itself with us. I think there's not going to be too much. We're not going to go outside ourselves and try to hype this fight up. The fight, it hypes itself up. People know that we're coming to fight.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't really give a lot of thought to who he's going to fight. I feel like he has an answering machine that says, if this is Dana White, the answer is yes. If otherwise, please leave a message at the sound of the tone. But that's just been his mantra. Do you know how long he's fought in terms of hours and minutes? I did the calculation today. How many in-cage minutes he has in the UFC?
I don't know. What is it?
4 hours. It's something like 4 hours and 35 minutes. I did yours also. Yours is about 2.5 hours.
So he's got twice as much.
Yeah,
about twice as much.
Yeah, I think he might have twice as many fights. It might even be more than twice as many fights in the UFC. Yeah. I think you and him have a different process for when it comes to what's going to happen with an upcoming bout. I feel like you're a lot more methodical about who. The crazy thing about this is the people that say, "Oh, I'll take any fight anytime against anybody."
Yeah,
I think that's kind of a played out thing. I think that the way that you approach it is a much smarter and more economical way of prolonging your career and having more success, because you're looking for what you think is a good matchup for you, something that's going to elevate you and bring you as close to the top as possible. And I think that's a much more intelligent way about managing a career.
I think that's absolutely right. It's got to either elevate you or it's got to get you paid, big money if it's not. But this is a fight where I think it can put me in the position to do both. I was at his last fight in Brooklyn, and the crowd was behind him more than they were behind anybody on the card.
It looked like a buddy comedy, you and the guys backstage.
I tell you what, man, that was such a fun night. It was great. I love those guys. We had a good time. And that Tyrone, the Tyrone guy?
Which
that guy? The Instagram guy, Tyrone?
No, I don't know.
He's like, I don't know. You'd have to look him up. I didn't really know who he was at the time, but he was, I guess he's a big UFC fan. He goes to all the fights in New York. But we did a little skit video with him and Weidman's wife. It was funny. You'll get into it now that
I'll take a look.
You take a look. I don't know. It's a little out there, but he's funny. But Cowboy got a huge pop from the fans. So I know there's going to be a lot of eyes on this one for sure.
Well, the next fight for Cowboy was supposed to be Conor McGregor. I mean, Dana White came out earlier this week before yesterday's news and said that they had offered him and Cowboy the co-main event for the July card, which I personally believe is insane to offer Conor a co-main event. I don't know if you agree with that. I mean, he should be in the main. I feel like him versus anybody in the UFC does better numbers than almost any other main event that could be made.
Yeah, it's a little weird that they would put the title force that. Apparently, there has to be a title fight on a pay-per-view. Which I just
is that like a company policy?
I don't know. It might be
quite
something
understand
with the pay-per-view provider or something like that. I guess maybe the numbers hadn't been so great when they didn't do it, so they made it a thing.
Well, they've said this, but if you look at Diaz-McGregor, they're two of the biggest fights in UFC history in terms of numbers, and they're both non-title fights.
This is true.
170.
This is true.
Dana's argument for that was that Conor was a champion at the time, so they were able to make.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't in the same weight class, they were able to make that a main event.
Okay. I mean, you're right. I think it's. But I'm glad
it worked out for you.
It worked out for me, so I'm not complaining. I don't know. I don't know why they did it like that. I don't know what other reasons were behind it, whether it was a money thing. Connor's said he's retiring now, so it's worked out.
How much did your phone light up yesterday morning?
Yeah, everyone keeps asking me, like, "Oh, give us your I'm like, I don't even really care. Like, if he wants to retire, retire. The guy, as far as I'm concerned, his stock's not as high as he thinks he is. He lost his last fight. Like, you're really he is a fighter at the end of the day. Like, that's what got him to where he's at. And if you don't keep fighting and if you don't keep winning, people are gonna fall off the bandwagon. He's hurting a lot of people. He's acting like a lunatic. He's forgotten where he came from. I used to love hearing the way he talked and about like respect in the martial arts, win or lose, winning or losing the right way. But now it seems like he's just out of control. So if he retires, good riddance. I don't know. I have no really thought either way.
Well, to your credit, you're one of the very few that haven't like been all over calling him out all the time. It seems like this guy got called out by Henry Cejudo this week in the last 7 days.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to fight if it happens. It's great. He's just another guy, but it just like this fight, maybe to another level. It just so many more eyes just elevates your stock when you get a win over a person like that.
Do you have a bucket list?
Bucket list,
like guys that you want to fight before your career's over at lightweight?
No, not. I don't actually. It's funny. I've never really thought about it like that. I think I just like fights like this, like guys that I've watched coming up, and you see on TV, and they're just when I was younger, they would just seem so much. Seemed like almost superhuman. Like you watch these guys on TV, wow. And I remember when I first started training at Ray Longo's, and I was just about to go pro. He was like, "Listen, man, it all looks good on TV. Half of these guys are fucking retards." He's like, "You could beat the crap out of every single one of them." He goes, "The TV makes them look good, but wait till you see them in the back. In the back room warming up, they're all scared, they're all nervous, they're all just like you. There's no superheroes, stuff like that." So I took that to heart, and I see it coming up. Like these guys have nothing on me. Yeah, I do respect everybody, but there's no reason with the team that I have, the support system I have, the people I have behind me, where I've been to get to where I'm at. There's no reason. If I don't succeed, then shame on me, because I have every opportunity and everything I need to be a champion.
Your good friend, I think is he still your roommate, Aljamain Sterling?
He just bought a house. I'm so lonely without him.
Are you still living in the first house you bought?
Yeah.
Yeah. The one that you bought it for the garage.
I bought the garage, and the house came with
Yeah.
it. The garage is sick. It's a 2-car detached garage. It's got I got like a little office in there. I got a full gym, mat space, heavy bags. It's got a bathroom with a shower. It's pretty sick.
You bought it before the Miss Clark fight, so it's not like all the success has gotten to your head and you're buying mansions out in Uniondale.
No. It was the first house I looked at. The one qualification I had, I told my friend's mother, who was my real estate agent at the time, I said, I just need like a good garage. And she was like, all right, well, we got to check this house out. This is the first one. It looks like it's got a good one. And I said, I need that house. I need that garage, and I taught private lessons out of there forever. When I was injured and had nothing, I had no fights coming up, I was in there morning till night, teaching private lessons and stuff. So it's paid for itself in full.
So Aljo's moved out, and he's looking to get that fight at bantamweight. It looks like it's going to be Cejudo versus Moraes in June. But, I mean, Aljo's done all the right things, man. He's winning the fights that he needs to win. He's getting finishes of late. What do you think it's going to take for him to get into that title picture?
I think he's right there. I think he very, very possibly he could be the next one in line for a title shot. He could be the next one fighting for the title. It kind of looks like Cejudo and Marlon are going after each other, but this game is so crazy, anything can happen, and in the blink of an eye, Aljo could be right in there. And if not, he's got one fight to go until excuse me, one fight to go until then. And with the way he's been improving in the gym, but more so in the cage, he's getting more comfortable. We all know like what he could. The last fight, everyone really started to see him let his hands go. He if he gets you down, it's good luck. He's stronger than most 55-pounders I've gone with, and his squeeze, he just squeezes the life out of you. So I think that it's a great time for him, and our whole team is just coming together at the right time. It's a great thing to see.
Absolutely, and Aljo's been making some good moves. That Sulaev stretch is still. It's amazing that there were two on the same card. Like that, Zabit did it like 40 minutes later.
Isn't that so crazy
It's
how
weird.
that happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't know. Maybe Zabit saw that and then
Gave
it
him
was
an idea.
almost like the
Light bulb.
You know, the first guy that ran the 4-minute mile, and then after that, 1 million people ran the 4-minute mile because they just thought they saw it and they thought they could do it too. So maybe he saw it and he was like, I could do that too, and he got in the right position. That was just crazy. That was crazy, and yeah, what a great submission for Aljo. It was big win. That was a tough fight, tough opponent. The first, I was at the end of the second or third round. It was a tight fight, but Aljo just kept grinding, kept going, and he ended up finding it.
Before we wrap this up, do you have a prediction for Holloway versus Poirier, UFC 236 interim title? I know you love the interim title. It's very important to you to get one of those one day.
Jeez. I mean, I don't have it. I really don't know how this fight's gonna go. I can't. Like sometimes I can kind of have a feeling of how the fight would go. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if Dustin's gonna try to make it if he can try to work his takedowns. If I have no idea. If I was gonna predict something, I'd be way off. So I'll predict that Max Holloway wins by TKO.
All right, so you're hoping to way off. You're hoping that it's Poirier?
I don't know.
You don't care.
I have no idea. I don't. I don't know. I think we'll see how this whole thing plays out. The lightweight division is crazy. It's a fun time to be in the division because at any time anyone could just stand out and get that shot.
And you'll try to do that May 4th against Cowboy Cerrone main event.
I will, absolutely.
Yep. Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa. It's the first Canadian event of the year, and we're happy to have you here.
I love it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was Ragin' Al Iaquinta on the TSN MMA show. Fascinating conversation with the Ragin' one as he goes to his main event fight in a couple of weeks, maybe about a month, just over a month, in Ottawa against Cowboy Cerrone.